Hello, this is the game between Dubov and Vidit. First, let's see what is happening here. So black played h6 already, so that could be potential target for white. For example, something like h3, g4, g5, but only if black castle on that side. Second thing, what we can notice here is that white already makes some pressure on that knight on f6, and the queen is only who is protecting that knight. So black needs to do something about that in the future. Maybe he will play g5, maybe he will bring back the knight on d7. We will see. What else we can notice here? White played c3, so practically he wants to hit in the center in some moment, and both sides didn't castle yet. This is so important thing, because if white castle, then it's perfectly safe for black to castle on the king side. But if black castle first, then of course h6 is a weakness, so we can play h3, g4, g5, and we will probably crush black pieces, especially the king side, because of that weakness on h6. So black he's forced to wait a little bit more, just to see where white will go with his king. Okay, so white played here knight a3, but why knight a3 here? If he touched this pawn first, maybe a4, because this is more logical move and more playable move here than knight a3, then we can say that white won't be able anymore to castle on the queen side because of that weakness on a4. I mean, we know that we shouldn't touch our pawns where we want to castle, so that could be weakness after we castle on the queen side, but for now it's perfectly fine move, of course. So that is why knight a3, and if black capture that knight, this is also good for white, because then he will stay with bishop pair, and with c3 we know that we want to hit in the center, so it's really a logical decision to play knight a3, and if black capture, it's fine for us. Okay, he will destroy our pawn structure, but this is also something good, because still, if we don't castle, maybe black won't castle, which is probably bad decision to castle first on the king side, and then also would be probably bad decision to castle also on the queen side because of b file, and of course there is a weakness on a5. So practically and that happened in the game, so black capture here and we capture, so practically now the king must stay and to wait white to castle first. Of course white can't castle anymore on the queen side, but in some moment white will castle on the queen side, and then it's perfectly fine for black also to castle. Maybe it's not perfect, sorry, because still with bishop pair we can organize some attack with h3, g4, g5. We have better chance here. Okay, g5 is not available at the moment because we can sacrifice, and then again we have tremendous pressure on that knight on f6, so practically black played first queen e7. So why queen e7? He wants to wait to see where black what white will do here, and also it's important in some moment when white push the pawn, probably we will exchange d file, and then it's better to move the queen from d file. So it's some logical move, and we can say useful for the future, not right now, of course. Okay, and then white castle. So now if black wants to castle, he can do that, but still there is a chance for white to organize some attack on the king side, because he doesn't need to worry about his king, about safety of his king, because he has bishop pair, and this bishop is really active, and he's controlling that king side. That is why first knight b8. So knight b8, he wants to bring the knight on d7, and then he will help in defending that knight on f6. And we will see, there is one more thing about that. So d4 now. Dubov immediately used his chance to hit in the center. So when the knight is not anymore on c6, of course, why to wait anymore? He castles, so we hit in the center. Then knight from b to d7, and then rook b1. This is useful move because we are pinning the bishop for that pawn on b7, and also we can't expect from black to play b6, because then he will weak also light square. So for now this is just one useful move for white. And then g5. So basically that is why black first returned the bishop, the knight, sorry, on b8 and then on d7, because he wanted to play g5, but now when he played g5, white can't have then that opportunity to capture on g5, because now black can defend easily this knight on f6, and probably queen f8, queen g7 will be some useful idea here for black, and then maybe to castle, maybe just to keep the king in the center, probably to castle, but the queen will cover that space on the king side, so everything is fine for black. This sacrifice won't be correct for white. Now, so g5, he's using the moment to capture the pawn on e4. But it's really scary to capture the pawn. Your king is in the center, you already opened the king side, so probably black is in difficult situation now. But okay, this is one pawn. And then queen c2, we are attacking the knight with tempo, because we want to develop our queen on some square, and also he's opening some space for his heavy pieces to bring them on central squares. And then black played f5. Computer is saying that the best move here is knight takes on g3, but it's not that logical move, because then we will open f-file, and what could happen after that is knight b6, bishop will sacrifice on f7, and after queen f7 we can capture on e5, and now practically both sides have some chance. Probably it will be draw, but who knows. I mean, probably white can find some way how to repeat the moves, but this is probably the best what white can choose here, because he is down for two pieces, but black king is totally open for checks, so probably it's equal. Okay, but black didn't capture that bishop. He played f5, and after f5, of course, it's so logical to open the center, because the king can't castle anymore on the king side, and we can't expect him to castle on the queen side because of this rook, so the bishop is pinned. Okay, maybe after that black can use c5 square, which is probably really good place for the knight, because then he will protect b7 pawn, and also nobody can kick that knight. So after we capture here, we open some space for the knight. Rook e1, and then knight g3. Okay, we must capture, and after that practically everything depends on that pawn structure in the center for black, because if in some moment white destroy this pawn structure, then of course it's easy for white to win the game, because the king will be still in the center. So e4, and black now needs to use desperate measure just to defend this pawn structure. So we can expect in the future g4. What happened now, of course. And of course it's a so logical move. The knight is not hanging because we can capture the queen. And then knight c5. Okay, we spoke about that knight, so the knight is now on the really nice place, and also he's protecting the bishop, the pawns here, and the bishop is now free to go whenever black wants to move him, and maybe then he can escape on the queen side. Probably on the queen side is more safer than to stay in the center. Okay, and then knight d4. What about knight d4 we can say is we are threatening to capture on f5, this is one thing, and also knight b3 some potential, not threat, but we want to trade the knights, because this knight on c5 is so powerful. He's on dark square, we have light square bishop, so we can't kick him from that place. Also we don't have pawns, so someone needs to do that, maybe with the knight. Okay, rook f8. And after that, I mean, first let's see why black didn't capture here on g4. So if he captured now, we can play knight b3, and then this pawn on e4 will be weak. So that is why, probably, because if he trades that, we can capture, and then the pawn on b7 is still hanging, so he doesn't have time to play bishop f5. So that is why black didn't capture on g4, but also I wouldn't say that this is logical move, because black wants to wait white to capture, and then maybe he can play bishop f5 with tempo, but depends on position, of course. So that is why rook f8, he wants to protect that pawn more times. Okay, so g takes on f5, bishop takes on f5, and now take a pause, try to find some good move for white. This is that critical moment in the game, and only the knight is protecting the pawn on b7, so the bishop is not anymore here, and Dubov found here really good idea. Okay, now I will tell you. So rook b7. What is about rook b7? First, black can't capture here, because if he capture, then we have bishop b5 check, and after maybe bishop d7 to protect that, we can simply capture on e4 and the queen will fall, or maybe king f7, but now we can capture the knight on f5, and the queen is hanging, so he must move the queen, but still we can play some tempo moves here, and after we capture here, still we are threatening to capture on e4, and practically this is good position for us. Also knight g4 is a threat, so this position is far away better for white. Probably it's a winning position. Of course, Vidit can calculate that and to understand that he can't take that rook. So this is good sacrifice because still black can't capture that rook. So he played some useful move here, and that is rook f6. He will cover 6th rank with that. Now he's threatening to capture on b7. And after rook f6, white played queen b1, but this is not the best move. Better move was knight f5. Idea with that move is to weak pawn again on e4. We spoke about him, so white needs to capture him if he wants to attack black king. So knight f5, and after rook f5, rook b4 or rook b5. Idea is to take on e4. So c6, we can capture on e4. Maybe queen will capture, we will capture, and now this position should be better for white. It's not winning, but still. It's totally playable for white. Probably white should be better in this endgame. Okay, but white played here queen b1, and again both sides have chance here, but it's far away always easier to play with the side who is defending position. Why? Because that side doesn't need to be creative. That side just need to recognize where is the problem in position, so what to recognize what white is threatening, and just to find some solution how he can prolong to not lose the game, or to find the best move. The other side needs to come up with some new things all the time, and the pressure is on the side who has less material, or the side who is attacking, because he has initiative. And once he loses that initiative, probably that could be psychological thing in chess. So that is why it's always better for the side who is defending position. Okay, so knight b7, but depends of player, of course. Also, that could be style of that player, because someone wants to attack, someone wants to defend. It's more for character of that player. Okay, so then we exchange here on b7. Okay, white gave that material, and then rook d8, forcing move. There is no other moves here, and then knight f5. Okay, knight f5. We said that we should capture that and then to open the center, but also some potential move here is knight c6, but then still this is better for black, because after queen f5 the bishop and the knight is hanging, so white must take, but we can capture here first, and then the knight will be not in trap, because white can play queen a8, and with queen a6 we can exchange a knight b7, but still this is good endgame for black. So that is why white didn't play knight c6, he captured on f5. And after rook f5, we capture on e4, rook d1 is only move. So, for example, if he plays here rook e5, then we can check him, and now whatever he plays, he will lose the game. I mean, the rook will fall on e5. So we can check him, and one more check, and we can capture the rook on e5. Or some other move, maybe here, maybe king f8, but still we can play queen h6, and practically we are leading to the same thing. We will capture the rook on e5. So there is no good move, there is no good position with rook e4 here, so he is forced to play rook d1. And we did found that. I mean, it's easier for the side who is defending position, because of course he can calculate that and to see that rook e5 at this moment it's not good. Okay, so king h1, king h2, sorry, and then rook e5. It's a big difference, because now there is a place for the king on d8. So queen c6, king d8, check again, and now check with the bishop. Okay, so maybe instead queen a8 was better, bishop b8 first, and after queen d6, now queen a8. What is different? The difference is we will provoke queen to go on d6. So if the queen is on e7, we are threatening some checkmate here on a8. So practically we are forcing black to move the queen on from the place on e7. Why I'm saying that? Because it's so important for black to keep the queen on e7. Why? Because the queen from e7 is covering some space on the king side, where black king will end in some moment. So with queen d6, I will show you what could happen here. Some checks, but now we can capture, and this is draw position. We can repeat the moves. But what happened in the game is first queen a8, and now it's a different situation because we didn't force black to move the queen from e7. And after king e6, we can give some checks. Again, we have practically the similar position here, but the queen is on e7 and she can protect some important checks here, and there is no repetition from white side. So and then white made crucial mistake here. I think he lost his concentration or something like that. It's not the same when you are defending position when you are attacking. So when you are attacking, probably he needs to spend more energy, so he needs creativity a lot of all the time. So that is why maybe now f3, but f3 is a losing move. Black can simply capture, and now the king will go on some safe position on c1. Probably he will finish because from that place white can't give any more checks. It's so simple to see that, but probably it was a big mistake for Dubov. I mean, practically he lost his concentration. What else I can say about that? Okay, so check here. Then king e3, of course we will escape, and then check with the queen, and this is now winning position for black. So g3, g4, and now one more check, and white resigned here. So what else he can do? I mean, we are threatening here some checks, or from that side, from h5 square, and then h3, and that will be checked with rook f1, for example, or yeah, rook f1 will be checkmate, or queen f1 also. So something like that could happen. I mean, now white king is open for attack because we have, I mean, black has heavy pieces. Light square bishop can't help too much in attack on black king, because black king will go all the time through the dark squares. So we can't use him, only the queen, but the queen is not enough. Black has more pieces, and he's perfectly safe near to our pawns. Okay, thank you if you watched the whole video. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.